Cortland, we have head coach Joe Brown, DH Nick Hart, center fielder Carlos Ziemendorf, and starting pitcher Seth Lamando. Coach, do you want to make any opening remarks?
Well, that was arguably one of the more gut-wrenching games I've ever coached in my life. Knowing the potential circumstance with the national championship on the line, their pitcher Jim Miller pitched superbly, and we were stymied for a while. But that was the exact recipe in the entire regional. We very well could have been out 2 in our regionals, and I give a tremendous amount of credit to these young men because the level of mental toughness that was displayed is like no other. You're on your heels. You're facing a young man who I don't think has given up a run yet, and we just had some incredible at-bats there, something these young men will remember for the rest of their lives.
What was the message going into the 9th inning? Like you said, I mean, going against a pitcher that's been pretty phenomenal in relief this season. I mean, was it just kind of keep your head up and see what we can do? Or
I didn't say any. There's no rah-rah speech for me. I mean, we had the kids coming up. They understood their job, get on base, and so, no, there was nothing special that was said, and we don't really say too much special. We'll probably say more stuff earlier in the game in regards to maybe how a pitcher's pitching you and maybe try to change the plan a little bit, but there was nothing. You don't have to say anything to this group.
Nick, were you looking for a particular pitch in that sequence there?
I was just looking for something up. He's been preaching some of this and that all year. Look for something up in the zone. I mean, I wasn't trying to necessarily get a hit. I was just trying to get the run and keep the rally going. The guys ahead of me did a hell of a job getting on base, and I was just trying to do my part.
I think they could sense that it was starting to unravel. Could you guys sense on the bench that it was starting to build?
Yeah, you can. I mean, only because we've done it in the last 2 weeks. Discipline in those at-bats were huge. You're not maybe chasing a bunt where we fake bunt a few times and got in the pitcher a little bit and got him a little bit nervous. And then forcing that walk and then having Nick coming up, he's contact there. He's not going to strike out. But what he just said there is the ultimate discipline of wanting the ball up. When they're infield in, it can't be hit on the ground. Earlier in the game, we had infield in and we hit the ball on the ground. And so Nick didn't need to hear that a second time.
Conrad, talk about your tournament, being the most outstanding player, and what was working for you, and what's it feel like at this point?
It really, I think it just started to click for me. I progressed as the season went on, and I started to find my places, what pitches I liked. I had to mess with my swing a lot in the middle of the season, but I think it just started to click, and I was getting the pitches that I wanted, and I was being very selective with the pitches that I was getting, but it wasn't like a power thing anymore. It was anytime I could hit the ball, it was going to be a line drive or hard on the ground. I wasn't going to pop up. I hate popping up. It's way easier to get out that way, so I just set my mind to hitting the ball hard on the ground and line drives.
I give these guys credit. We've messed with our lineup a little bit and moved guys around. Sometimes it has a tendency to get in young men's psyche, but fortunately for us, it didn't impact their performance.
Coach, they come in the 5th inning and they get that triple, and you escape the inning without any runs. Then you come back and score one. What was the highlight after that?
That's that young man right over there, Seth Lamando. He pitched extraordinarily phenomenal for us. To give us those innings that he did and to pitch in those circumstances that he did and execute the location. And, it was 4 days rest, and everybody thinks these kids are superhuman. That young man was on 3 days rest, which is abnormal. But Seth was a horse and pitched superbly in that inning. With us coming back and getting a run, but then we left a run out there, too, and they came right back and scored 2. And so then you start to think, geez, might we have missed an opportunity there to expand it a little bit. But amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
Conrad, talk about when they've scored those 2 runs. Now you're down a run after being up 1. What was the atmosphere in the dugout like?
Actually, I think we went down a little bit. We kind of had to regroup, and for some reason with this team, we always come back in the 9th or the late innings. We managed to do it, and and it's always someone different. We did it in Florida during spring break. We did it today with Mahalski. Mahalski came up big, being the first guy on and getting that base hit. And once that happens, I really think that's what gets everyone going again. We just need a couple of hits in a row to get us going, and there's not much that can stop us.
Nick, you didn't start the series as a DH, but you came in midway. What was your thought process going through taking over from your senior captain?
You just got to stay ready. I mean, Coach loves to use the bench. He loves everybody on our team has played outstanding this year. And it was just about staying ready, keeping the mindset, not changing anything, and just if your name gets called, you gotta be ready to answer. And I was.
Have you ever replayed in your head earlier, what would you be doing if you sit here with the runs on line at bat in the bottom of the ninth or the ninth inning of a World Series?
Yeah, I think that's something that everybody dreams of doing, and I got to experience it today, and it was great to share it with these guys. I love this team, and it was awesome.
That was a difficult decision.
Seth, talk about your outing today. What was it like coming off the rest that you had? And how are you feeling, and how much do you think you could give today on the mound?
After my first start, I knew that I had a, chance to come back and throw, later in the tournament if we made it there. And, from my first outing on, I was just every day in the gym, trying to get my body healthy enough to get back and throw on 4 days rest. Whether I came out with my best stuff or not, I knew I had to do whatever I could for the team. Make sure I just hit my spots, try and make the other team get themselves out rather than overpower people. Again, defensively, we were unbelievable today. Everyone seemed to make the plays behind me. And, the team just plays with heart, and that's a huge thing coming into a tournament like this.
What was it like mentally? You were, a third baseman, you got hurt down in Florida, came back from that, and it was basically told, okay, you're just going to pitch. I mean, what was that like mentally to kind of change the focus of what you were being asked to do for this team this year?
It hurt at first, but then, mentally I just told myself, look, I got to do whatever I can to help the team. And, from then on out, I just, set my mind towards pitching and did everything I could to, put something forth for our team.
It's a good question, Frank, because Seth started out as our number 4 hitter and third baseman. And against Marietta, he did a headfirst dive into second base and injured his knee and was down for a month. He was out of baseball for a month. And we made the decision to put Matt Mahalski at third base because he's a very solid, tough, mentally tough kid. And then we told Seth, we're just going to rehab this knee. He tore a PCL, and I have no problem saying that now. I already got okay from him. But and he sat a month of baseball, and he came back and was very unselfish because he could have come back and wanted to be the third baseman. And we said, you're just going to be a pitcher for us because he's a special kid. And he bought into it. And I think the other thing he remembered, and some of you that have a little history here, I told these guys all year, we always challenge our pitchers to do all the proper stuff, the conditioning to be prepared to pitch again. I remember a young man, I believe he's the head coach at Oshkosh now, that pitched against us in the World Series, Whitewater, and that young man pitched on 3 days rest and beat us in the championship. But every single night I saw that kid in the gym at the hotel at the Radisson Paper Valley. I said, that kid earned his win. He did, and that stuck in my mind, and I would constantly tell these guys, you earn your wins. And that young man was in the gym as soon as the game was over, basically, the other day, because he knew there was the potential to come back again.
Joe, I need to ask you this. We haven't brought it up throughout the whole tournament, but, the poster was up today. I mean, it's been a very emotional year with Bob Wallace passing away, and the kids wearing the BW on the hats in his honor, and then the poster up. You want to try to address what it's meant, kind of a, almost a destiny type year with Bob?
He was a very good friend. And our field is named after Bob Wallace. And we had a wonderful memorial service. We put the initials on a hat. We didn't want to do an armband. Very tough man, a man that drove out to the College World Series. Matter of fact, one of Coach Wallace's best pitchers ever pitched for us, Danny Rive, he lives in Wisconsin, and came to the game today. And I was with him, the night before he passed. he always enjoyed coming out here. And the last time he came out, the reason was he wanted to visit his wife's sister in Minnesota. And he loved these kids, but, I don't want it to just be about Coach Wallace, but he was tremendous force with us in our program. It's about these young men, but the way these young men integrated with him in what Bob did. And Fran, you made the comment. I'm not sure who did it, but we have an alumni reunion every year this is our 40th reunion coming up. And there's a song played at every reunion every single year. It's played by a professional banjo player, and it's Put Me in Coach, and it's center field. And that played in the top of the ninth. I don't know how coincidental that was, but it played in the top of the ninth when we began our rally. And I was sitting there at third kind of smiling a little bit. But a special man, a good man, a very honorable, integrity man. But as I told these guys, this is their championship, this team. At the same time, for all those that are watching, the 100 alumni, the 13 teams we brought out here. I've got 106 text messages right now, all from former players that have come out here and battled as hard as they could. And I actually told them last night, stop texting me. You're putting too much pressure on me. Coach, we got live chats going. We're taking days off of work. We're watching this on video. They're watching this in Cortland, New York, on big screens. And what this means for these guys to have that pressure all year. And it wasn't about being number one. It was just about playing the game. And we got a phrase. It's our shortstop. It's called the game knows. The game knows if you respect it. The game knows how you play hard. It doesn't matter what anyone else cares about. The game knows what you give to it. And if you give every single bit of effort, whether you win or lose, the game knows.